So, what's going on, everybody? So, the Tampa Bay Rays beat the Yankees the first game. We know that. But Tampa Bay Rays also have a problem that the Yankees have. And they have two pitchers down with long term injuries. Two of them had Tommy John surgery. Okay. We got a couple of relievers going down that road now, but we still are missing 2/5 of our rotation, 40% of our rotation. And it's making a huge difference in the Yankees team because they don't have enough backups or enough offense to, which they should have, to offset that at least credibly. The Tampa Bay Rays do. Okay, and even the starting pitchers they have in place now are doing pretty well. They're pitching to about a sub-3 ERA, even with the other guys that are in rotation. So one of the things that the Rays do better than the Yankees is they sign, guys that don't have injury history, which hopefully the Yankees will follow. But guys like Zach Eflin, some of these other guys who become pretty good pitchers for them, and the fact of the matter is they just have better player development. But I want to give you some insight because I looked at the last 4 or 5 years of draft picks for the Rays versus the Yankees. And there's some glaring numbers, at least in my opinion, that I want to share with you. And I want to know what you think. Load up the comments. If you find this stuff fascinating, you happen to be a Yankee fan or just a baseball fan in general, don't leave without subscribing to the channel. I appreciate that as well. I want to make sure that you're in on this. And obviously, we talk on a regular basis through live streams and stuff like that as well. So, but let me get to this too, because, and I mean, I'll give Cash for credit for this. Not doing a lot of things great recently in terms of trades, but, he was enough to admit that he needed some help to get better. So, which is why Omar Minaya is here and why Brian Sabian's here. Now, we haven't seen what these guys are doing yet or heard anything yet, but I think they're going to be helpful, or hopefully they're helpful in the draft this year, and maybe even some international talent, which Omar Minaya happens to be very good at. It's one of his specialties, just like Brian Sabian. One of his specialties is in the draft. But let me give you these numbers and let me know what you think of this, and then I'll give you the lineup because the lineup's out too. So, Rays. In I'll back it up the last 4 years. In 2022, they drafted 14 out of 20 pitchers in their draft. 12 of them were collegiate. 2021, 13 out of 20 pitchers. Okay, 14 out of 20 rounds were pitchers. And then last year, in 2021, 13 out of the draft picks, 20 draft picks were pitchers. 13 college, okay? And then in 2020, which is a short year because of COVID, there were only 5 rounds. They drafted two out of 5 were pitchers, okay? And one of them were collegiate pitchers. So, but that, yeah, exactly. And the high school draft pick that they have drafted in 2020, what's his name? I forgot his name, but he's not even in their top 30 draft picks right now. So just something to think about. And in 2019, there was 40 rounds, okay? And then obviously they've cut it to 20 since then, but 25 out of 40 draft picks were pitchers. 23 of them were college. So you're noticing a trend. Very good, high number of pitchers drafted. Very high number of college pitchers drafted. And this is one of the things I mentioned recently in terms of the Yankees, that I encourage them to draft high round pitchers, okay, especially in college, because they're not only closer to the major leagues, but you're giving depth to your AA and your AAA teams, more depth than they've currently had. And like the highest draft pick recently that's been one of their top prospects was actually in the same year was Ken Waldichuk, who was drafted in the 5th round. Hayden Wesneski was drafted in the 6th round in that same draft. I think it was 2019, which is the same draft that Anthony Volpe was drafted number 1. So for them, and so Tampa Bay does this a hell of a lot more often than the Yankees. Okay, now Yankees, 2022, they had 20 picks. 15 of them were pitchers. All of them were college, which was, I think, a good sign. Okay, then in 2021, 13 out of 20 rounds were pitchers. 10 of them were in college. Then in 2020, they had 3 picks because of free agent signings that they had to forfeit in the high round. So one of them was a college pitcher, Beck Way. And then in 2019, they had 40 picks. 25 of them were pitchers. 18 of them were college. But comparing them to the Rays have a lot more college pitchers drafted in high rounds especially. And then if you look at their drafts, they'll go sometimes 8 picks in a row, all being pitchers. So whereas the Yankees don't really have stretches like that very often. It's kind of spread out all over the place. But and you could just see with their draft, I mean, their top 30 prospects, the overwhelming majority of them are offensive players, position players, and not pitchers. So they do not do as well drafting pitchers and developing them as Tampa does. So if I were them, I would be looking for some very strong development people to bring in, especially ones that can draft collegiate players. And I don't think they're at that level yet. I mean, they're much better developing position players, in my opinion, than they are pitchers. I don't know if you agree, if you disagree, whatever. Load up the comments. I want to know either way. But I wanted you to get those numbers just to for revelation, just for more edification, stuff like this, for more perspective, because the numbers are, they're pretty obvious. Tampa Bay focuses a lot more on drafting pitchers, and if you look at their international players, and they draft a lot, but a lot of them, like Randy Rosarena, a lot of their top position players are international players. So, and they also obviously get free agent signings and so on, but it's kind of a smart way to win their franchise. So I got to give them credit for that. I hope the Yankees take notice and start doing some things different. I hope last year was not an anomaly. 15 out of 20 pitch. Like, I hope that's more of a indicative trend for the Yankees. But with that, let's get to the lineup. All right. Anthony Volpe's batting leadoff at shortstop. Anthony Rizzo's batting second at first base. Gleyber Torres batting third at second base. DJ LeMahieu at third base, again in the field 1 through 4. DJ's batting fourth. Willie Calhoun's in there DHing, batting fifth. Jake Bowers is back in there, batting sixth in right field. IKF is in center field. I guess he's giving Bader a day off. He's batting seventh, giving Bader a day off in center. Aaron Hicks is in left field, batting eighth. And personally, I would have put Isaiah kind of for left, and Bader in center, but I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. But then Kyle Higashioka is at the dish, batting ninth. So that's the lineup. And on the mound, on the bump, on the stump, Domingo Germán. Okay, coming off a very good game last time. And hopefully he'll continue this trend. It's going to be harder to do against the Tampa Bay Rays, obviously. But, the guys that are carrying their sort of rotation right now are Garrett Cole and Domingo Germán. Okay? His ERA is a little bit higher. I mean, he's pitching better than Nestor Cortes. He is. So, and Burrito's not really, doing much. Neither is Clark Schmidt. So, which is why they need Luis Severino back. I'm happy to hear he's pitching a game in AAA this coming week. So, it might be 1 game or 2 games before he's back. So, at least we have some semblance of a breath of fresh air coming back and maybe some reinforcements. Not so much Carlos Rodon. We're looking at July right now, but we'll see. And at that point, maybe the trade deadline will be here and there'll still be a need for a pitcher. Maybe the Yankees will get a pitcher. And again, I would be following the mode of getting somebody who could just throw every fifth day, not flashy. Look at the Rays, too. They get a lot of number 2, number 3 pitchers. And they've got major guys right now. Glasnow's coming back from an injury. And there's, again, 2 other guys that were out with Tommy John. So, but they do well surrounding these guys with more depth, which is something that the Yankees could do as well. So, and again, and even the pitchers that they were all trading, a lot of them were traded out for Montas and Scotty Frost are all injured right now. But, with the exception of Hayden Wesneski, who started decently, many of the pitchers that they traded out were really doing well. So, and they weren't high draft picks. So that needs to change in the Yankee land, I think. I would be drafting more pitchers at the collegiate level starting now. They did some of that last year, thankfully, but I would be doing consecutive years, just like the Tampa Bay Rays do, especially in the high rounds. But we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think, and we talk to you after the game. Have a good day, guys.